Have you ever wondered why some collaborations work and others don't? Have you ever been in a collaboration and felt like you were getting burnt? Maybe you're collaborating and everyone's making money and you're wondering, how come not me? If this is you, I totally get it, and you're going to love our topic for today. My name is Suzanne Hart. Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. And our topic today is 3 steps for building trust before you collaborate. This conversation is definitely going to be a good one. This conversation is for you. If you want to experience exponential growth in your business, if you really want to put some leverage in place, this is for you if you want to create partnerships that are built on trust and similar values. So as you join us, please let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and what exactly brought you out this evening. This is going to be an amazing conversation. As you come on, put comments in the comment section about what brought you out, what you're looking for. If you have a question, participate. Let us know what that question is. Also, I'm going to ask you to bless a life. And what that means is share this broadcast with a friend. I recommend you share with 5 people. Share it to your page, share it to a group, share it to the page of a friend who you may know that they're wanting to collaborate and really partner up with someone, but they're just not sure how to go about it. If you're listening to the replay, #replay, thank you very much for showing up. And I know you're probably thinking, I'm listening to the replay, but go ahead, let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and who you're called to serve. Put all that information in the comment section. This is our opportunity to network. This is our opportunity to connect. You never know who's going to be listening and see your information and definitely reach out to you. So put your information in there. Also, when you love what you hear, definitely share. Bless someone in your world. Bless 5 people. Think of 5 people who might be thinking, you know what, I want to collaborate to grow my business. I'm looking for partnerships. This is a form of networking, but it's networking in the best way. We're going to talk about that tonight. All right. And as we join, we will have a gift for you. You will find the gift actually in the comments section. It is our Mindset Mastery mini course. So go ahead, click on that. Get your free gift, register, and enjoy the course. And as we go through the evening, we'll be putting some information where you'll be able to connect with myself and my guests. So I see Cindy is out there. Hello, Cindy. How are you? Wonderful to see you this evening. I see Yetta Decker has joined us. Good evening, Yetta, and a happy early birthday to you, Yetta, because we know tomorrow is the big day. We hit off your birthday month, so giving you lots of love, my friend. Enjoy your birthday. Okay, so let us get this party started. I am so excited for our guests. So as I said, my name is Suzanne Hart. Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. Our topic tonight is 3 steps for building trust before you collaborate. This conversation is definitely for you. If you've been in a situation where everybody seems to be winning, financially success, but you, and you're feeling a little used, if you've ever felt burnt by a collaboration, this is definitely for you if you want to experience exponential growth in your business. And if you're looking for a partner, but you don't know actually how to make that happen, someone you want to collaborate with. Well, because collaboration is a topic, I couldn't do this with none other than the social media strategist. Why? Because we kind of seem to be joined at the hip. Our collaboration evolved over time. We're going to talk about that. And before we knew it, we were in this beautiful sweet spot where magic was happening. So we're coming to you tonight to let you know how exactly that happened. We're going to share our journey with you. We're going to share how we cultivated this relationship and why it is working. So please welcome social media strategist Taria Hodge.
All right. Great evening, Suzanne. Great evening, super achievers. Once again, I'm so happy to sit down and unpack another amazing conversation. So tonight is going to be hot.
Well, this is a great conversation. I see Patricia has joined us. Hello. Good evening, Patricia. Wonderful to see you. As always, a definite super achiever in the house. So this conversation, Turia, is so cool. And one of the things that I know I've been experiencing is people reaching out to me
Yeah.
to create collaborations. And they're looking for not just small, like, collaborate on a small project, but looking for collaborations where we engage for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been reluctant, I'll be the first to say, because collaborations in my mind happens in a very specific way. It's an evolution.
Mm.
So we decided to jump on and really talk about this evolution because it has been, is it a 3-year journey for us?
Oh, yeah. 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And I want to put out that when we started, I was your client.
Yes.
You were my client.
Yes.
And collaboration actually wasn't on the table.
Yes.
Okay. And I really want everyone to get that because that is where we want to start. Collaboration wasn't on the table in any way. We both came to each other because I had a need, social media, that Turia could fill. I needed a strategist. And you were looking for some work around mindset.
Yes, exactly. I was stuck.
And definitely wanting to get unstuck.
Yeah.
And so for us, a collaboration was an evolution. It was a evolving that occurred as we got to know each other. And I think that's the first key thing. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is how do you earn the right to be the person that someone collaborates with? How do you ETR?
Yeah, so that's a very great question. And I'm going to say this because a lot of times people think that collaborations happen overnight. Some do, right? But the ones that are truly long lasting, the valuable ones, those are the ones that take time to cultivate and develop. And so you asked a question about earning the right. Well, one of the first things that I want to start off by saying is when you are in the space of looking for someone to collaborate with, how do you support each other even before the collaboration happens? Okay. And I think that that's the big one that a lot of people miss. So one of the things that you just mentioned, when we met and we started to work together, you had a service that I needed. I had a service that you needed. But this is the thing that I want people to get, right? It's about me also supporting you and truly showing up for you. And so did my support and my showing up for you just end with the service that I provided for you? And did yours end with just the service that you provided for me? No. So what I began to see was, you know what? This person, was really, is truly vested in my success, and that they're showing up for me in a way that nobody else has shown up for me before. Right. And so by time the conversation about the collaboration came on the table, it was a no-brainer. I didn't have to sit and go through all the things about, well, can I trust this person? What would working with this person look like? We have already experienced that in the support that we were sharing with each other as we got to know each other and got to know each other's business. So I think that that's the first thing, being able to just show up in support. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I see in the marketplace, right? That people want to have the opportunity to do more with each other, but they have trouble doing the simple things like just supporting each other.
That is so true. And I know when I first started my professional career, I tell people all my advancements and all my collaborations came out of me giving first.
Yeah.
And yes, you were my client and I was yours. However, it was the willingness to go above and beyond that really, really made it happen. But it was also the willingness to put my best self in front of you. Yeah. And not for any other reason, and I want everyone to get this, not for any other reason than I pursue excellence, but this is how I live my life. I believe I'm always auditioning. right? I'm always like auditioning because I don't know who's watching. I don't know what's available to me. I don't know what's possible. So when
Yeah.
I come to play, whether it's one person, whether it's 10 people, whether it's 100 people, I'm going to give you my best because that's how I want to be known. And I think, there's two things that come to mind is oftentimes people withhold best
Yeah.
because you didn't pay the right price.
Yeah.
and 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 anyone who works with me, I come to deliver. So for me, I think a big part of it is I saw your work. I saw your work ethic. I saw you go above and beyond. And every time you came with best service, but best delivery for me in mind. And that was a key thing for me.
Yeah. So I love what you said, right? Is being able to serve with excellence without expectation.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that, like a lot of people do, they go into situations or they even approach relationships in this way. Well, what can I get out of the relationship? Or what will the relationship, benefit me? Right. And so off the bat, they're thinking about those things. And here's the downfall about that, because sometimes you don't see those things right away. And so you miss opportunities, to go further, collaborate, work together, like what we say, locking arms, like
Right.
when you're in just that short-sighted mode. But if you put yourself in the mindset, like you said, show up and do your best every day. And I talk about that all the time. Like when people touch you, what's the experience that they're going to get? No matter what level they're touching you, what's the experience? What is it that you're bringing to the table? Okay. That when these things occur, they could say, you know what, whether it's a year, 6 months, or 3 years down the line, right? They could say, you know what, this is the person for me. This is the person, that I want to work with and I want to work deeper with.
That's such a great share. And I remember when I first started out in my career, and I'm going to go back to a job, and I had a manager that would constantly give me opportunity. And opportunity also meant working extra hours, doing stuff way beyond my job description. And whenever she's asked, I would be like, yeah. And what most people didn't see was that she was giving me opportunities to grow, learn, become more, do better.
Yeah.
This was the interesting thing. During my time in that organization, I never actually applied for a position. I was always like, you're perfect for this position. We're going to go through the formality. You're going to get the position. When I got actually into that organization, it was because I was not working there. I went above and beyond, and they actually wrote a position for me, and I got into this organization. And I say that because, when you and I are willing to contribute, we're also showing people our capacity. We're also showing people what we're made of, what we're capable of. And so when I was developing a program, and the more it evolved, the only person I could see doing the pieces was Sharia. And this was the thing, because I had been exposed to her work, I had confidence in her work, I trusted her ability on camera, I trusted that if I tossed her the ball, she could run with it, because you had demonstrated to me your capability and your capacity. And I really want everyone to get that. So if someone could put capability and capacity and to pour her with no expectation.
Yeah. And it's so key, because oftentimes, this is how it shows up in the marketplace. Someone is asking you, to do something, right? Or it could even be making referrals. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that, right? So one of the things that people, ask for all the time is referrals. But check this out. Who would you rather someone refer to you? Would they would you rather someone refer to you someone that they've never worked with,
Mm-hmm.
and pass them on to you, or someone that they're currently working with, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you have, a need that can be filled, right? You would prefer the latter.
Right.
But here's the thing that really goes on in people's mind, and this is the thing that I don't think enough conversation is being had about it. Well, how do I know that Suzanne is going to take care of my client? You see, so it's easy to, refer someone that you're not working with to someone else. But when you have that person or those people that you're working closely with, right? Do I trust the person?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you now, even before that scenario, comes into play, how are you giving yourself the opportunity to learn, to vet, to
Really.
experience, the person beforehand? So when those opportunities occur, you could say, hey, it's a no-brainer because I already know how she shows up. I've
Yeah.
already seen how she services her clients. I know her heart. I know her values. They're in alignment with mine. And I know that my people are going to be taken care of just like I would take care of them. So the thing
Yeah.
is like people talk about their desire, to have this in business, but how do you start to put the things in place
Yeah.
for those things to happen?
And so when we're talking about earn the right, and I really want to stress this, is earn the right is not an show up today and it happens tomorrow.
Right.
Earn the right is, are you willing to invest in a relationship even if you don't know the potential outcome?
Yes.
That's really what we're talking about, earn the right. Are you willing to invest? Are you willing to contribute? Are you willing to show up? Are you willing to help even
Yeah.
when you don't know where it's going? Because that's what we mean. That's what I mean by earn the right.
Mhm.
Because I know I've had people want to collaborate and I don't know their work. I've never seen their work. They're talking a great game. And when I say, yeah, I'm open, but I need to see your stuff.
Yeah.
And people get offended, like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like, uh, I don't know how to collaborate any other way. I need to know we're on the same page. I need to know that when I toss it to you, you can run with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's that is the first piece. So I want to talk about, and I know we've had many conversations about this, and because I think this is the secret sauce as to, well, there's two things we're going to talk about that are part of the secret sauce as to why this works. But what do you look for when someone says, "Would you like to collaborate?" What are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking for someone who has an alignment of values. Like
Mm,
that's the very first thing. And so one of the things I've learned, and believe you me, I've learned this the very hard way.
yeah,
Okay, because everyone has values, right? People have things that are definitely, that they hold dear. But here's the thing: are we in value alignment? And
yes,
sometimes, we're not communicating our values, number one. So people have no idea the things that we value, right? And we're not doing that value assessment ourselves. So it's like when you meet someone and you start to form the relationship and you're getting to know the person, can you clearly see their values? And if you have anything, like it could even be the little feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach.
yes.
Those things aren't things to be ignored because they show up later, right? So that's my first thing. My first thing is the alignment of values.
So
Okay.
before you jump a little further, I really want to break down alignment of values for people. Because one of the things I have found is that most entrepreneurs, particularly when they're starting out, they actually don't know their values.
Mm, Yeah.
Actually, most people don't actually know their values. And what I mean by that is that most people have never taken the time to write down the values that guide them. And so it's hard to align if you don't know what those values are. And so I think when you're talking about value alignment, it's such a key thing that if I was to give everyone listening an assignment, is to write down the values that guide your life, guide you, because whatever guides your life guides the life of your business. They're all, I know some people say they're different, they're not. They're identical in the world according to Suzanne.
But
Go ahead.
Before you go on, I want to touch on this, right? Because I agree, because I was that person when I started out, didn't clearly have my values defined,
I
right?
remember
And being able to speak to them up front. But here's the thing. We all have values, right? And like I said, and that's what I was talking about, like the feeling in the pit of your
that,
stomach.
right?
So even if you're in conversation and coming from my space, from the social media space, these are the things that I see all the time. Like I hear people beating up on clients. They would get on there and they would bash their clients, right? Like why? Or they would guilt, and these are the conversations like that they're having forward facing, okay,
Right.
in the space, and they're guilting people, into their programs, and they're literally making people feel bad. Now when I come across those people, are like those the people that I want to hitch my wagon to? The answer to the question is no. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there, but it's deciding, being able to stay true to you, to know which opportunities are the ones that you participating and the ones that allow you to be your true self. Because if you can't be your true self and you're not holding to your values, then it's a miserable experience
Oh
for
my goodness.
everyone around, or all around. And
And
so that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, if you don't have it written down on paper and you don't know how to clearly articulate it, that's homework number one that Suzanne is giving you to go ahead and do that, right? But it's also being able to be true to yourself, to recognize those things, because they do show up, and people do show us, who they are, what they value most. And if it's not you just have to, number one, be honest with yourself and say, no, that opportunity is not for me. And then have faith to know, right, that the right opportunities and the right people will come into your space.
and one of the things to really be clear on, and I've learned this the hard way, is you compromising on values is a losing situation.
Yeah.
One is two things are going to happen is you're going to be butting head with a person.
Yeah.
And when you're butting head with someone, it's often value misalignment. They believe this and you believe something else. The other thing is if you're constantly in conflict, and it's usually internal, there's probably a value misalignment. And relationships that aren't aligned value, it is going to be one person's going to dominate and the other person's going to come and they're going to feel not respected. There's going to be resentment. There's going to be all those things. And so the big thing is, do not compromise values for money.
Right.
Do not compromise values for opportunity, because you may get where you want and not like who you become.
Yeah.
And so it's a disruptor. So values is the first one. What else you got?
Yeah. So values, and then you touched on something just a little while ago that you mentioned. Well, this is how I put it. I put it this way: the laying down of the ego. Right? And so we all have egos. Let's just put it out there point blank. We all have egos, right?
Yeah.
So are you willing to put your ego aside, to really operate in this relationship. So you talked about having someone come to the table saying that they know how to do certain things, but you don't know if they could hold their word or they
Mhm.
could stand behind what they say. Here's the really great thing about trust in a relationship. And I'll share, I have no problem sharing. There were things that that you started to share with me, like that totally went over my head. Like
Mhm.
I didn't get it. So, am I going to sit down and pretend that I know? No. I'm going to lay my ego down and say, you know what? I don't really understand that. I really don't get that, or I've never done that before. But my commitment to you is to work until we figure it out. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, right? So when we talk about trust and we talk about the relationships, like, is the commitment to just make the money, or is the commitment, to be there, to go through whatever and figure it out? And I think that that's the thing that people really don't get, like, when it comes into collaboration. So you talk about doing, the picture is never perfect, there's always challenges. Who are you being in the face of those challenges? Are you going to be the person who's going to quit and run, take your ball, go home, and then leave the other person hanging? Or are you going to be the person that said, you know what, I'm committing to getting this done? Can we roll up our sleeves, and by whatever means, you bring your strengths, I bring my strengths. What I don't know, you could share. What you don't know, I'll share. And it's not that, competition, per se, that sometimes we feel or even act upon in the marketplace.
That is so important because you're talking about mutual respect.
Hmm.
And I think one of the things when you look at collaboration, people are often looking at the product and the money and the outcome. And all relationships take time, they take effort, and they take work.
Yeah.
And I think really what we're asking is, are you willing to do the hard work
Yeah.
and build the foundation where trust can actually occur? I think it's also, are you willing to grow together?
Yeah.
Are you willing to surrender power to the other person's giftings?
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we do really well is, say, social media is not my thing. Taria is the lead in that area, right? And mindset speaking is my sweet spot, and I'm the lead. And we both learn to lead and follow and be totally respectful and surrender to each other. And I think the part is also to say, I don't get it. Can you teach me?
Right.
Because we're together in collaboration because each
Mhm.
of us bring brilliance, talents, skills, and treasures to the table. And am I willing to allow you to stand in your powerful place in those brilliant that brilliance and pour into me? That's a big part about collaboration. For me, another one, Shreya, this is a game changer for me, is habits. And
Mhm.
tell people your habits develop your character. And for me, habits are key because integrity is my number one value. It's also my number one habit. And I'm the girl, like, do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't do it, clean that sucker up and
Yep.
recreate integrity with me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for some success habits that must be in play,
Yeah.
right? Open, honest communication. Are you able to do that? Are you persistent? Are you committed? Are you solution focused? There's some things that if I don't see them, I know collaboration is not going to go very well. So, are you punctual? Oh,
Yes.
girl, right? All those things. Do you follow through? Are you able to get past stuff? Are you forgiving?
Yeah.
It's all those pieces. Are you willing to be transparent and vulnerable? Are you willing to admit when you're not right?
Yeah.
I mean, we do it all the time. That was me. I was wrong. Are you willing to do the banter?
Yeah.
Are you willing to stand for what you believe in? Like, there's some key things that need to be there. So habits is one for me. And then the other one, and we've talked about this, is having, and this is a big one, so somebody put this in the comment section, having the same definition of success.
Yes.
Right? And I really want to break this down for everyone listening, because this is so key. So I define success as an experience. It is not a goal. It is not how much money I make. It is not how much success I have in the traditional sense. It's not my trappings. It's not my car. It's not that stuff. Success in my world is the experience on the journey.
Yeah.
And so I tell people all the time, and Yetta and I were having this conversation yesterday, if it is not ease, fun, and play, I am taking my ball and I'm packing it in. I'm going home. Right? Because I do not like unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
I do not like all that stuff. It has to be fun for me. So my definition of success is the experience I have on the journey. Did I grow? Did I expand? Did I have fun? Did I learn something new? Did we have synergy? Were we able to problem solve? And was it done with ease, grace, fun, and play?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think a lot of times, Suzanne, people don't really give themselves the opportunity, or the time to learn those things, about another person. And there's so many ways that you could see that. And so one of the things that, I always share about our story, I remember the very first time, that I had an experience with you. I was supporting another client, and there you were. And you absolutely blew my mind with the conversation that you were having in regards to leadership. I've never heard anyone speak about leadership in the manner that you did. And so right away, you were on my radar. The next encounter was a physical encounter with you where I saw you for the very first time. And then I got to embody your presence, and see you and feel and say, you know what? Wow. How does she do that? Like, she's not even, Jesus walked on water. Like, you just glided across the room. It's like, I want some of that. Okay. And then by the time we actually sat down to have a conversation is what you were talking about. So for me, when it came to working with you on that level, we identified that we had the same values.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have all your habits, but I was willing to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's that thing, like when we once again connect with people and we're working in the simple forms of collaboration or the bigger forms of collaboration, are we in sync? Are we on the same page? And is to be able to identify that. And what I found is, like you talk about your definition of success, right? When I listen to you, I said, oh my gosh, she is doing exactly what I want to do. And so it was, a no-brainer for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that people caught it, right? That even before that happened, it was 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been working together for 3 years. So I've actually known you like a total of 6.
Right.
Okay. And so that's the stuff right there.
It is so key. And the reason I talk about success and defining it, I have had relationships where we want the same thing. Our goals are the same. However, what each person was willing to do to get it was not on the same page. So, and that was where the breakdown was. And the reason I'm sharing this is we could have similar values. People could have the bomb habits. However, the how
Yeah.
is not the same. And the how is important. And so for me, after having experienced some hows where I left going, I will never ever do that. I left burnt to a crisp. I left stressed to the max and said, oh no, that's not for Suzanne. That is not my how. That's when I started going, well, what does success mean to you, Suzanne? And realizing I trust that the money will come. I
Yeah.
trust that the recognition, the trappings, all that stuff will arrive. What is most important to me is my journey, who I become, and my experience on the journey. And once I got that clear, it really bracketed who I would collaborate with and how the collaboration would unfold. So I think that's so key. So I want to talk about winning components of a great collaboration. I remember when we had Grace Kehoe on, and she talked a little bit about, some of the key things that make listening happen. And there were some key components. And so I want to talk about the key components that make collaboration occur. So what do you have in terms of what do you see between us that has made it work?
So I'll share the biggest one for me. So can you see more for the person? And that's huge. So I remember, when we first started working together, right? Immediately, like my vision for you was like this, right? And I was just like, oh, okay, this is what it could be. And I didn't let where we were at the beginning point stop me from dreaming and believing what can be.
Awesome.
And to be able to show up that way for you. Okay. So can I see other things for you that you might not see? Right? Or maybe you see them, you might shy away from them because you don't know how to get there.
Yeah, or just not comfortable.
Right. Okay. And so that's the thing. And once again, it goes back to the trust, and it goes back to the showing up, because, like my mind is blown all the time when you see those things for me and you say, you know what, Taria, I was noodling, I was thinking, and then you come up with this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I never say no. Like, yeah, let's do it. Right. And then I get off the call, right? And then I go, well, if Suzanne was able to see that, why didn't I see it? Right? But it's not to linger in that feeling, right? Because I know that you have my best interest, right? And I have your best interest. And so we all have blind spots. So can we cover each other's blind spots, or can we bring attention and awareness to the blind spots? And so once again, that thing about the ego, becomes less and less. And I'll just go ahead and share, because there are times when my ego popped up, right? And I'm like, man, I want to go do that, and I should be doing that. And why didn't I think of doing that? And it's not about that. It's like, no, you got your lane. Stay in your lane, right? Operate your lane, and it's okay. There's no comparison of, Suzanne is shining in this area and I'm not shining in this area. I don't need to shine in all areas, right? I need to shine in the areas, that I need to be shining in. And can I create the space and hold the space for Suzanne to shine in those areas that she shines in. And like you said, like that's the stuff right there. And that's the it's easy to come out of the mouth, but it's harder to do because it's that internal gut check-in. Like you got to check yourself. You're going to check yourself, right? And
Mhm.
then even after you check yourself, being able to have, you know, the open and honest conversations and being transparent, like, oh, this is what I was feeling, or this came up for me.
Yeah.
And I know some of the men out there are probably watching, and then they might probably say, there to go with this girly, touchy-feely conversations. But I think
No.
men in the marketplace, right, also need more men. I shouldn't make it sound like as if no men do it, but more men in the marketplace need to, you know, be able to have conversations like these, right? So we could all move forward.
You're one of the things that you're talking about is holding the space for the other person.
Mhm.
And I know that you and I have had many conversations about holding the space for
Yeah.
each other. And what that means is being powerful in our own lane and not stepping into the other person's lane and feeding the other person's lane. And so as we collaborate, one of the key components of collaboration is no competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we're not competing with each other for business, nor are we competing each other for position, power, all those different things. What we are doing, however, is taking this beautiful bird's eye view. And whenever I sit in front of a client, I'm like, what piece is mine?
Yeah.
And what place belongs to Taria? So even if I'm closing the sale, I'm closing both sales.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm closing sales that I'm not even part of.
Yeah.
Or I'm setting it up so that it's like a yes. That's collaboration.
Yeah.
And knowing where my role ends and the other person's begins. And so that the trust is always there, that when I go to the table, you are fully represented.
Yeah.
And when you go to the table, I am fully represented. So
Absolutely.
there's that no competition, no ego sort of situation, because it feeds the trust and it creates that exponential growth and that leverage that everybody is looking for. I'm just thinking, I want to talk about, we talk about motivation. And I really want to break this down for people. So another thing to look at that really makes a collaboration win is motivation.
Yeah.
And no matter what you tell people, what people say is, I can't motivate nobody, and it is exhausting to try.
Yeah.
And so one of the key components that makes a great collaboration work is when two people are internally motivated,
Yeah.
driven, and come to the table with their own rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more frustrating than being in a collaboration where you gotta motivate you and bring energy for another person. So for me, internal motivation is key.
Yeah.
And then the other one, and I want you to touch on this because I know you can, is they must be externally focused.
Oh yeah. So that goes right in my vein of serving, right? And so what you're saying is so key, right? So like you said, no one wants to be in any type of relationship where they're feeling like they're the only one who's pulling the weight.
Right.
Like it's the same in business, and it's the same in collaboration. And so when you take a look at the people, the person or the persons that you're going into collaboration with, right? What is it about them, that says that, what, they have that internal, fire, that desire, that burn, like, and you see that burn even, before you start to work together. And even as you work together, Okay, if you find that you have to be the one setting up every meeting, you're the one doing every call, they come to the call, they're not prepared, they don't know what's going on, it's like it's a no for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? They have to be excited, they have to want it, they have to see it as well, even before it's here. And then when we talk about being externally focused, even though we're the collaborators, the bigger picture is the people that we serve.
Right.
Right? So, how do you show up in the arena to put your best foot forward to serve? Are you going to do whatever it takes, right, to make sure that you are serving at your best level? And I know that that's the thing that's a touchy subject, Suzanne, for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like to use the word serve in the marketplace because they think it means not getting paid. They think that it means that you are putting yourself in a position to be taken advantage of or not to be valued. Like, that's not serving. And so, to be able to be clear and on the same page as what serving looks like,
Right.
okay, then, like you said, you're internally motivated. You get up every day. Like, Suzanne doesn't have to call me, every morning to tell me to do stuff, right? I'm here, I'm for it. Okay. And I don't have to do that for her. But when we take a look at, the goals,
Mhm.
right? How do the people that we, encounter, the people that we touch, make sure that they have the best experience?
Absolutely. And I think also when we talk about externally motivated and
Mhm,
externally focused rather,
mhm.
it's also being able to not just focus on myself,
Right.
right? And I have collaborated with people who are gifted, talented. They've
Yeah.
got it going on. Like, it's a joy. It feels like a privilege to collaborate with them. However, when you collaborate with them, you realize they're internally focused and it's all about them and
Yes.
has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
really want to spell this out. So you're along the ride to achieve their goals. You're
Yeah.
on the ride to get them where they want to go. And you're a footnote in this situation. And now you find yourself in servitude,
You know,
service and servitude.
yeah. So I was just about to say, Suzanne, once again, be very, very careful of the things that people are saying, right, into the marketplace, because there's a lot of conversations that I think are being repeated, things that are being said, you know, by leaders, by influencers, however you want to, term them. And yeah, they might sound catchy for the marketing, but have you like really stopped to unpack, you
Mhm.
know, what those things mean? Because people will tell you exactly what they're up to. And so, one of the things that we're always in discussion about is, the difference between the service and the servitude, right?
Right.
And serving doesn't mean, servitude. So once again, if you are in a collaboration with, another entity, and you feel that you're not being valued, these are the things that I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
You feel that you're not being valued, speak up. Okay. And if you speak up and you still don't see, where you're being appreciated or you're being wanted, or like you said, the scale is slanted, then is your responsibility to say, like, oh, this is not for me, this might not be the opportunity for me. And so a lot of times, I think I'm not going to talk about anybody else except me. I got stuck in a lot of situations like those, where once again, because I didn't clearly define values, because I didn't stand up, for myself, because I didn't set the boundaries. Okay.
Mm,
These,
boundaries.
yeah, these things happened, right? And like we just said before, it will be so great that everyone that we come across will be able to see these things for us if we don't see them for ourselves as yet, and say, hey, this is how you're operating. Let me help you shift that. But the reality is there aren't too many people who are going to say that, to you or do that for you. And so we talk about givers and takers all the time. They're going to continue to be who they are. That's their being. Doesn't mean that they're good. Doesn't mean that they're bad. That's just their way of being. Okay. And so sometimes it might be present to them. Other times it might not even be on their radar. They're just operating in who they're being. And then next thing you know, you're caught in the middle, and then you're stuck because it's unnatural, to you, right? So
let's stop there for a moment, because I really want to highlight this, because when we're talking about someone who's externally focused, an externally focused person will always have their best interest at hand, but never at the expense of your best interest. It'll always be my best interest, your best interest. And I want to talk about this for a moment, because we're talking about I'm making money and you're making money. I'm gaining success and you're gaining success. I'm growing and you're growing. You're getting exposure and I'm getting exposure. And it may be happening in different ways, but the focus is not just that it happens for me. It happens for the both, for the entity. That's what we're talking about when we talk about someone who's externally focused, right? And also, these are the people in the world that are givers. And it's really important to understand this, because there are givers and there are takers. And a taker is someone who is internally focused, and they're probably internally motivated, and they're drivers, but you, for some reason, don't show up on their radar. Is it good, bad? It's not bad. That's just how they walk through the world. However, if you're a giver, you want to be really aware of that as you step into collaboration. Because one of the things I know is those people love some Suzanne. They love me. They come looking to collaborate with me because I am a giver. And so one of the things I had to really learn is to set those boundaries and to really look at, can I truly collaborate in this situation? Learning more than likely not, because it's not going to be a great fit. And so it really is being clear on what a winning collaboration is for you, given who you be in the world.
Yeah, I love that. But that's what it is, right? Is understanding who you are, who you be, like you said, and then being able to identify, who people are. And it doesn't mean that, sometimes it means that you don't work with them, and other times you might have to, right? Or you might even want to, but on what level, in what capacity, that you do that, and being clear. And so that's where the communication once again comes in.
So Tria, let's talk a little bit as we wrap about the win.
We have some questions.
Ooh, let's get to the questions. What we got?
So I think Patricia is asking a question out there. Hi, Patricia, love. How are you? And Patricia is saying, how long did it take you to know your values in a crystal clear way?
Great question, Patricia. So for me, what I did, to be quite honest, was I took a moment and I wrote them down. And I started with 8. And I recommend everybody do this. Just write down the values that you believe exist in your world.
Yeah.
And then the test is the gut check. That intuitive thing that happens where you experience that internal conflict. And whenever you experience an internal conflict, go check it against what you wrote down. There's 2 things that are going to happen. One is you're going to see the value written on the piece of paper, and you're going to say, that's what's at play right now. We're not in alignment with this value. If you don't see it down, then you want to put language to it and add it to the list. And sometimes as you add it to the list, something else will come off, because you're gonna find and you're gonna play with it. And over time, you'll end up with my list is probably 8 really clear values that guide and govern me. And what I do know is whenever I'm feeling out of sorts, whenever I'm feeling like there's an internal conflict, when I go to that list, I can find it like this. It's like bingo, there it is. And I'll be like, oh, I gotta create realignment. So what I would say, Patricia, is just take a moment and just write down 8 things that you think guide you on a day to day. Some of them will be crystal clear,
Yeah.
right? Like integrity and open communication are like open, honest, timely communication is huge for me. And integrity is my other really clear one. And then you'll find other ones that are there. The other thing I want you to think about is when you find those values, is to begin to ask yourself, what are the habits and behaviors
Mhm.
that value life? And it'll help you clarify if that's truly the value or is it actually something that feels or looks
Yeah.
similar to that. Great question.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add on my experience because, like I said, I was, that person operating in my business that didn't have like I knew what they were internally, like you get the feeling, but to have them down on paper, to be
Yeah.
present to them, and then after that, being able to clearly communicate them, I had to learn, how to do that. So it's one thing, number one, to identify them. That's the first step. Write them down and then put the habits to them. But the rubber hits the road when you have to clearly communicate them. So it's like when you get in those situations when, like I said, when opportunities come up, are you willing to say, oh, that's a no for me? Right, because it's out of alignment
Yeah.
with me, right? And so that's the stuff right there, to be able to stick to them and hold to them. Because one of the things, once again, I learned a lot of stuff the hard way. When you operate out of that stuff, then it's a horrible experience. You're horrible, the work is horrible, the client feels horrible. It's just not a win.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Great question, Patricia. Do we have any more? I'm just scrolling. I don't see any.
We have some awesome comments from Yetta. Thank you, Yetta, and happy birthday in advance, hon.
Yet as always, work in the comments section. Similar habits and rituals, similar definition of success. Let egos sit down. I love it. Let your ego sit down. That's great. Internally motivated, externally focused. We had that conversation, Yetta and I. We were like unpacking that. Good stuff. So talk a little bit about, as we wrap, what are the wins and benefits of collaboration that you've seen?
Oh my gosh, the wins and benefit. So the very first thing is being able to, once again, identify. To me, this is the most important thing, to identify the people who are in your space that that you could really work with. Because as I started to unpack collaboration for myself, it was like, okay, who can I lock arms with? Okay, so that became um number one for me over the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so being able to identify, the people to lock arms with, like that was the biggest win for me, because I felt like I was out here doing a lot of things, doing it alone, getting nowhere fast. Okay. Then the second thing, like you said, the wins, we can't, shy away from taking a look at what the revenue, what the money, because we all have that, as business owners, we should be focused on that as well. So the win is when you have that true collaboration, is how can we do more together, because the pie is so big. We want the whole pie. We just want our little piece of the pie. So how can we, all come together, to benefit or share in the same pie? And that's it. And then when you look at it that way, everybody wins. So like I said, I'm looking at, the pie. Do I see just myself in the pie, or do I see Suzanne in the pie? Do I see other people in the pie? Like, what are we doing? And then not being selfish about it.
Right. Absolutely. I think the exponential growth of
Yeah.
income is huge.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is you do more with less.
Yeah.
And so the ability to have a bigger impact in less time
Yeah.
is huge, because I'm leveraging Charia's brilliance. I leverage Yetta's brilliance, leveraging, different people's brilliance and going, let's put this together and see what we can do. But this is the other really cool thing. When you come to the table, you actually look bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Right? So people think we have this massive company. Actually, no, we have exceptional collaborations. I don't want no employees. I don't have any employees at this phase, but I have amazing collaborations that allow me to come to the table powerfully. So that's the other thing. I think the other thing for me is entrepreneurship is an isolating situation, particularly if you're the person working from the comfort of your home. That is me. You have people that you can collaborate with and brainstorm with and create synergy with and bounce ideas up and come to the table and enjoy the experience of birthing something. Yeah. There's no experience like it. So I think that is the other win. And the other thing I will say is iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And so with everyone I collaborate with, like I collaborate with beautiful Lethea Owens, and I know every time Letha give me a call, I'm gonna be like, oh, she gonna scare me, and I'm gonna grow.
Yeah, that's what it should be about, right?
And I'm gonna be like, yes, I'm in, and then I hang up and I go, oh no. Time to grow. And so I think that's the beauty of collaboration is the expanding, the iron sharpening iron, and the making your best better. And this is the beautiful thing about collaborations, and you said this earlier, is that oftentimes your collaborators see within you the brilliance that you have not yet seen in yourself. Yeah. Or you may be touching the brilliance and they're about to blow it wide open because they see capacity that you may not have seen, or you might be a little timid to touch on. And now you're able to. The final thing about collaboration is the privilege of having someone else hold the space for your greatness, your growth, your income capacity, all those beautiful things. To have someone else holding that space for you is truly a gift. And I think it is a gift that one must hold dearly and absolutely treat with the highest level of respect. Because to have someone hold the space and put their reputation and align it with yours is a blessing and a gift.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Last words, Taria.
Well, this is such a good conversation. And like I said, thank you for allowing me to be part of it, to unpack it, because it's one of those, big elephants in the room, in the marketplace, so how do we really grow our business, and knowing that it's not a one-man show, like you could only get so far, by yourself, right? But, is being able to identify the others, to identify the people who you are locking arms with, to go further. So, yeah.
Well said. Well said. Well, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for jumping into the pile with me and being willing to collaborate, grow, experiment, fall down, get back up, have some tears, brush ourselves off, and keep it moving. I'm blessed to be able to do this particular journey with you.
Yeah. So likewise.
I just want to say thank you. Now, if you love this conversation, and you want to talk a little bit more about collaborating, or you're struggling with collaboration, I know we're going to drop a link in the comment section. You can definitely book some time with the Mindset Mastery Mentor or the social media strategist to talk a little bit more about collaboration, to pick our brains on why it works and how it's worked for us. The second thing I want to say is that next month, on the 4th week of the month, we will be continuing this conversation. Why? Because we're going to talk about beliefs. Because there's a belief out there that women can't collaborate.
Ooh.
There's also a belief that Black people can't collaborate. So we're gonna talk about those because whatever mindset you come to the table with might be standing in the way of your ability to have powerful collaborations. So as we were talking about this, we talked about this one being building trust. And the next one we're going to talk about is really focused on examining your beliefs and your conditioning and resetting your thinking around collaboration so you can come to it powerfully. So stay tuned. That will be the 4th week of September. Yes, already in the 5th week of September, I believe.
September has 5 weeks.
Yes, 5th week of September. So just keep tracking.
5 Thursdays, not 5 weeks, but 5 Thursdays.
Just keep tracking. We'll let you know when it is. So you were listening to Unstoppable Mindset. Our commitment is to provide breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. So I trust that we helped you do a little bit of resetting tonight and you're walking away with some ahas, some insights. As you leave, drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you're going to be applying from what you learned. Like this broadcast. Share this broadcast because it was a good one. So share it with a friend who you believe, oh, this was for you. This conversation was for you. If you are not a member of the Facebook group Unstoppable Mindset for Super Achievers, definitely knock on the door. Let us know. If you're listening to the replay, knock on the door. Let us know you want to join because these are the kind of conversations that we have. You know, we know that I believe that I'm a super achiever and I love to surround myself and have great conversation with super achievers. And if that's you, join the group, join the conversation and allow yourself to grow and expand and collaborate with some amazing people. I just want to thank my guest, social media strategist, Taria Hodge. And Taria, where can people find you if when you're not hanging out with me?
Yes, when I'm not hanging out with Suzanne, you can find me in my community also, which is Serve, Share, Shine, the Givers community. So if you are not a member, this is your opportunity to join. Just knock on the door. We do amazing things like have, wonderful conversations about how to show up and shine every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could also find me on other social media channels, on Instagram as Taria Hodge, on YouTube as Social Media Saturdays. I'm also on, where am I at? I'm on LinkedIn as Taria Hodge as well. And then also Twitter, Social Media Saturdays.
Fantastic. All right, everyone. As we part, please know you're brilliant. Know that you are oh so very special. And the world is waiting for you to put your unique gifts into the marketplace. Blessings, and we will see you back here next week. Take care.